Welcome to the stage, Marcia Kelby Rathwell, class of 1989, president of the Maryville College Alumni Association.
Good evening, and welcome to Maryville College's Founders Day 2021 edition. On behalf of Maryville College and our 10,000 alumni, I am delighted to welcome you tonight. As you can see, we've made significant changes to our traditional Founders Day celebration and have combined our donor recognition with our alumni recognition to create a truly special program which you will find both inspiring and uplifting as we celebrate the accomplishments of these individuals in their personal and professional lives and what it has meant for Maryville College. Therefore, without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce our first award. The Ken Takahashi Award is given to an alumnus or alumna who has, within 20 years of his or her graduation from Maryville College, lived a life characteristic of college legend Ken Takahashi, who in his 36 years of living worked tirelessly for the betterment of his alma mater, his church, and his society. Dr. Adam Pritchard, a member of the class of 2023, will become the 24th alumnus to receive this award. Before we hear from Adam, please enjoy this video presentation we have put together in his honor.
I grew up in an Air Force family, and my grandparents served in the U.S. Army, my grandfather on my mother's side and on my father's side, so I have a long history of service in my family. That's something that was always a part of my life, and being in the military kind of shaped my orientation towards serving others and serving our country. So my father actually served in the 1991 Gulf War. He was deployed in Oman and Saudi Arabia. Spent a while there. He was some of the first to go in and some of the last to come out. So he was away for a long time during my childhood, serving the country. And my mom, she took care of both kids and took care of the home front. So I have a deep appreciation for the role of the entire military family. My parents were originally from the East Tennessee area. They joined the service before I was born. And so I actually grew up, everywhere from Germany to Idaho. And I actually attended different schools every year from 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th grades. It sort of led me to a place where academia was the center of my world. The only thing that was consistent was my studies. I realized the importance of education from that experience. I was the first person in my immediate family to attend college. Maryville College, with its focus on service, really attracted my attention as a place where I could both get a high quality education and do something that made a difference in people's lives. I ended up majoring in sociology because I found that my unique position as sort of an outsider everywhere I'd been in my life gave me a perspective that allowed me to step back from my own ethnocentrism, from my own assumptions, and to really use what they call sociological imagination and recognize the connections between the big picture and the personal experience. I think one of the most impactful experiences I had at Maryville College was being a Bradford Scholar. Through my work with the Bradford Scholarship Program, I volunteered at the Blount County Jail doing adult literacy education. And I coordinated a program for both men and women in working on their GED. As part of this program, I interviewed many of the people that I worked with at the jail. And at the time, I found it striking that many of the women in our GED program, their stories of how they ended up undereducated and in jail in the first place were connected to their experiences of domestic violence. And I think that experience really set the stage for my interest and work later on in the field of domestic violence. One of the things I really appreciated, having opportunities to go to college on scholarship was that somebody believed in me, that somebody gave me the opportunity to make the most of my life, and I wanted to be able to do that for others. So I went to graduate school on a fellowship for Appalachian students, and I really appreciated Maryville College for leading me into that opportunity. So after my first year at the University of Kentucky, I joined a research study at the Center for Research on Violence Against Women. That turned into almost a full-time job throughout my tenure in graduate school. I worked with the center and we did work that was relevant to making the lives of women who experience domestic violence and abuse better throughout the state of Kentucky. After I graduated with my PhD in 2012, I got a job at the University of Central Florida. They have a strong domestic violence program. I think one of the most important things that I did during my time at the University of Central Florida was work with the Brevard County Sheriff's Office. I partnered with some detectives from their Special Victims Unit to create a strangulation work group. We had a huge team all throughout the county, and we coordinated, often for the first time, many of these county services that were essential for responding to victims of abuse. This year, starting in 2021, after the pandemic, I saw an opportunity to work here at Syracuse University at the Institute for Veterans and Military Families. What I do is work as a research associate. The research that I work on looks at education, employment, and health and wellness for veterans and veteran families. Try to provide insights into policy and things that affect the quality of life for military families and for veterans. My time at Maryville College really helped me to focus in on the things that were important to me in my life, to look beyond just scholarship and to look at my ability to serve and to use my talents for something bigger, looking for a calling, looking for something that you're called to do. In my case, I feel like I'm called to serve other people. I think that's one of the most important things that I got out of my education was a motivation and an understanding of how to do that.
In reflecting on Ken Takahashi and all the great alumni here at Maryville College, I realized that very little stands in the way of making a positive contribution if you're willing to put in the work. There are so many ways to serve in this country. When many of us serve together in whichever ways we can do great things. Everything I've worked on, from public policy to campus safety to applied research, was done with the help of people who are willing to do it tirelessly, day in and day out. Nobody does these things alone. As a student, I remember joking that Ken Takahashi single-handedly built half the buildings on campus. But the truth is, more that he inspired others to believe it was possible and showed by example that they could actually do the work. I've been blessed to be able to make a difference in the lives of domestic violence survivors, students, and now veterans and their families because of the people who supported me and showed me that I could do the work. I'm thankful to everyone that makes this work possible along the way. I'm grateful to the faculty and staff at Maryville College who helped me get started in making the most of my talents in the service of God's plans. And I'm grateful for the day-to-day love and support from my wife, Chelsea, and my son, Edward, who give me the hope and confidence to have faith in God's plan, even when currently God's plan is a complete change to your homecoming weekend travel. Thank you all, sincerely, and go Scouts.
Good evening, everyone. It's so good to be here in person with you tonight. As you may know, Founders Day 2020 was held virtually, with my presidential installation occupying most of that program. On that evening, we held a lovely, small private event to watch the pre-recorded ceremony, but it just wasn't the same without all of you here. And Sarah, my wife, who's with us tonight, and I have been looking forward to hosting this event in person truly ever since. A lot has happened since last October. A great deal of progress and positive momentum has occurred, all in the areas of focus which I first detailed in that virtual installation ceremony. And I'm so pleased and just so excited to share some updates with you tonight. It's because of you and your most generous support of Maryville College that strategic initiatives, those aren't just plans on paper or just discussions in meetings. They are, in fact, funded and implemented. They are seen, heard, and felt. And they are positioning Maryville College for a very, very bright and prosperous future. It's impossible to talk about the past year without addressing the COVID-19 pandemic and putting our successes into that context. With vaccine requirements, testing, and mitigation strategies, the college has successfully navigated the pandemic while offering a mostly in-person experience for our students. I am so pleased that Maryville College led the state of Tennessee in requiring vaccines, and that now the vast majority of students and employees are fully vaccinated. It hasn't been easy, as many of you know, but we have consistently prioritized the health and the safety of our campus, as well as our wider community. And speaking of prioritizing the needs of our wider community, that priority was a driving factor in the development of the college's new Master of Arts degree in teaching secondary STEM. This is the first graduate program in our modern history, and thus a major step for Maryville College, and an immensely important one for the middle and high schools in our region, which are right now facing a shortage of qualified math and science teachers. With this MAT launch, we now have a blueprint from which we can very selectively and very strategically develop other graduate programs. And this MAT in particular aligns with one of our areas of emphasis, and that is to make our location a point of distinction and a differentiator within the competitive landscape of American higher education. As I said last October, we will remain a college committed to the liberal arts, committed to studying everything so that we're prepared for anything. But we must carefully evolve to ensure the liberal arts' continued relevance to our students and to the world beyond our campus. Speaking of evolution, the college's official logo received an upgrade this summer, which involved the addition of a mountainous backdrop behind our beloved Anderson Hall. Now, people who are unfamiliar with Maryville College will know within seconds of seeing our logo that our campus is nestled in the Great Smoky Mountains, and that those mountains are very much central to our identity. The reaction to this new logo system has been overwhelmingly positive, affirming our strong belief that we have much to gain by becoming a college that is even more of and for this region. I have some exciting news to share with you tonight. The announcement of two recent major gifts, which will help us capitalize on our opportune location even more when it comes to student learning. The first is a gift from Professor Emeritus and former Academic Dean, Dr. Dean Bolden, and his wife, Mary. It will fund a new version of the Great Smokies experience for all Maryville College students. Many of you will remember that we already have the Great Smokies experience for high school students, delivered in partnership with the Great Smoky Mountains Institute at Tremont. But this new program will be available to all students in their second year here at the college and will offer outdoor exploration, leadership, and team building, as well as education about our region, environment, and sustainability. The second major gift is from our former board chair, Dan Ellis, and wife, Sandra Wagner Ellis, both alumni and longtime generous supporters of the college. This gift will fund a new administrative position focused on environmental education and sustainability. This new position will provide leadership and oversight for programs that incorporate environmental and sustainable themes across our curriculum. It will work closely with our environmental and scientific partners in the community and will play a supporting role in our advancement efforts when it comes to the environment and sustainability. I look forward to sharing news of the appointment of this position in the coming weeks. We are so very grateful to both the Beldens and Ellises for their substantial generosity. They could not be with us tonight, but they'll soon see a recording of this event. So I ask that, can you please join me in showing our appreciation to them with a very generous round of applause. And other good news, there's more. Tomorrow you will hear something you haven't heard at Maryville College at a football game in many years. The Maryville College Pep Band. At the beginning of, I know, yeah. I'm excited. At the beginning of the semester, we assembled this group of musicians, and by 2024, we plan to have a full marching band back on campus. I know, good news, right? The band will perform at games and other events. East Tennessee abounds with musicians and music lovers. With impressive music programs in our local high schools and with our incredible Clayton Center for the Arts right here, we can and we will draw more of these students here to study and perform. At the same time that we focus on embracing our opportune location, increasing student enrollment, and adding new revenue streams, we continue our efforts to become a more diverse, equitable, and inclusive community. The values of diversity, equity, and inclusion are incrementally becoming a permanent part of our thinking and our overall work here. Recent months have brought our first ever public statement of support for LGBTQ+ community members, and in news that is quite overdue, Martin Luther King Jr. Day is now an official, recognized, and paid holiday at Maryville College. We will also be working to better support our lowest paid staff members by adjusting the college's minimum wage beginning in January. And we are having substantive conversations and making plans for the best structures to better support our diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, as well as increase diversity within our faculty. We have received gifts earmarked for our diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, including money from alumna Anita Baker-Lerman and Alicia Lerman to establish the Lerman Endowment for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Also in the last year, the college was successful in obtaining grants for student success. Last month, we announced receipt of a $306,000 grant from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, or SAMHSA, which will provide programming for all students, but will have a special focus on first-generation and Pell-eligible students. Many of our undergraduates will benefit from new and enhanced programming made possible through gifts made to the Gerald Gibson Professional Development Fund following Dr. Gibson's passing in May. I was touched to see so many remember and honor our 10th president in this way. Meeting Gerald and Rachel soon after my presidential installation last year was certainly among the highlights of my professional career, and I wish I could have had more time to draw from Gerald's vast wisdom and experience as president. Certainly, he and I agree that Maryville College is a very special place with its best days ahead. And if you didn't know, you may have seen the news that Gerald and I are also cousins, which was a really wild discovery. One of the best parts of homecoming is seeing and hearing the reactions from alumni and friends who have not been back to campus for quite some time. And I have had some of those interactions today, and I am loving it. Former student athletes will note in particular work which was done recently in the Cooper Athletic Center and around our fields. There are new basketball goals and many cosmetic improvements to our gymnasium, a beautiful new soccer pitch, an all-new garnet room. If you haven't seen it, it's really great. And new goalposts and a scoreboard for our football field, all thanks to very generous donors. And soon we will add new softball field lights to our list of investments in athletics also. Go Scots. I'm so very pleased that homecoming attendees this year have the opportunity to tour a fabulous new facility located on the edge of campus, which is the Greaser Alumni Center. Dan Greaser, an alumnus and former vice chairman of the board, and his wife Shirley gave $1 million, which enabled us to turn a former bank building into a lovely home for our advancement and alumni staff members. Their gift will also support the eventual transformation of Willard House into a welcome center for prospective students and their families. Dan and Shirley Greaser, please stand and let this crowd show its appreciation to you both for believing in the affairs of first impressions of first-grade facility at Maryville House. I told Dan I was going to embarrass him. Don't want to do that, right? Okay, all right. Thank you, sir. Thanks for indulging me there. In the same week that we cut the ribbon on the Greaser Alumni Center, the week that we unveiled a new logo family, and that we opened the fall semester with an outdoor convocation ceremony. This part's always tough for me. We also dealt with a heartbreaking tragedy, news of the sudden and unexpected death of Cole Piper, the beloved chairperson of our board of directors and dedicated and revered alumnus. To me, Cole had quickly become an advisor, a mentor, and a very dear friend. He was a perfect chairperson for our board with his amazing combination of experiences. I don't believe there's anyone here tonight who could match Cole's excitement for all the news that I've just shared. No one was a bigger fan of Maryville College than Cole, and he spent much of his 74 years on this earth dedicated to the success and advancement of his alma mater. Tomorrow at the football game, you will see the letters CP enclosed in an orange and garnet circle painted on the football field in Cole's memory. And if you get close enough to the players, you'll also see a CP sticker on each of their helmets. Tonight, though, I'm pleased to announce that Cole's legacy is being made more permanent at Maryville College in the form of a soon-to-be-constructed track and field facility on campus, which will bear his name. The board of directors approved the plan just earlier today, and the new track and field facility will be constructed right next door to our new soccer pitch and softball field. Gifts already made to Maryville College in memory of Cole are being earmarked for this facility, and additional fundraising for the track facility will be coordinated through our advancement office. Starting immediately, we will begin recruiting for a track and field team, which will begin competition next year. And on Monday, we will begin a national search for a director of men's and women's track and field. We hope to break ground on this new facility next March and begin hosting events in the spring of 2023. Those of you who knew Cole from his Maryville College days know that track and field was a sport in which he participated and he excelled. I know he would be so pleased to see this sport make a comeback here after a nearly 40-year absence, and I know he would be humbled to see his name attached to it. Also, Cole wouldn't let me end on a sad note, so I won't. But before I move to that not sad note, I want to give a hand to our board of directors and all those who have led us to this place of remembering and honoring Cole in this way. Tonight is about celebrating our progress, our award winners, and last but certainly not least, our donors. 3,137 of them in our last fiscal year, In fact, 660 first-time donors. There were that many first-time donors to the college's annual giving program. Whether it is supporting scholarships, faculty initiatives, undergraduate research, career development, or extracurricular activities such as athletics, choir, and service opportunities, you are making a positive impact in the lives of our students and helping us achieve our educational mission of preparing students for lives of citizenship and leadership.
The Maryville College Alumni Citation has been awarded to outstanding alumni of the college since 1961. This award may be presented to any alumnus or alumna of Maryville College who has demonstrated outstanding leadership, initiative, or service in his or her community, church, or profession. This year we have 2 outstanding recipients. I can't wait for you to hear more about their lives of accomplishment. It is amazing where a Maryville College degree can take you. Receiving the first alumni citation this evening will be Mr. Casey Cross from the class of 1990. I hope you enjoy his video presentation.
I grew up in West Virginia on a farm. I have 3 brothers. We grew up really poor. My dad was a school teacher, made about $18,000 a year, so if we didn't grow it or hunt for it, we went hungry. My mother died when I was 17 months old, so then I was adopted with my 2 older brothers. And then my adopted mother died when I was 7 years old, so then I was adopted again about 5 years after that. So it taught me that you can either let your life's challenges define you, or you can choose to define yourself. So some of my brothers took that as an excuse to say woe is me, and I took it as a challenge to prove that I could still become something. I've just been someone who's, anytime I've been told I can't do it, I basically say, watch me. I don't do well with authority. When people tell me I can't do something, I like to prove them wrong. I've been that way since I was about 5. So I got in trouble a lot as a kid. It's kind of why I got into sports, because if I played sports, then I wasn't home, so I couldn't get in trouble. Sports kind of define my life. I see everything in life as a competition. So if it's walking across the street, I'm going to walk across the street faster than the person next to me. Just how I'm geared in life. I started track and football and basketball and those things in 7th grade and did them all the way through college. 6'5", so basketball kind of comes natural to me. So I went to junior college for 2 years on a full scholarship and then transferred to Maryville. The best thing about Maryville is it's a small school, so the best thing for me was if I had a question, I could go ask the professor. I don't think I had any classes that had more than 25 students in it, so it was much more personal education. I graduated from Maryville in 1990, and then I started grad school and with a focus in nursing home administration, and I earned my master's degree in 13 months. Found the opportunity to purchase a nursing home and acquired that nursing home. Ended up acquiring several nursing homes. I just really like the elderly. I still love the elderly, I like hearing their stories. I've gotten to talk to Holocaust survivors, World War II, Korea, Vietnam. Just hearing some of their stories. I've gotten to meet a Congressional Medal of Honor winner. I've met 3 fighter pilot aces, which is I really enjoy because I'm a pilot, so I like talking about flying. It's tough because no one wants to see their mom or dad or grandparents at that end of life. I see it as the exact opposite. It's a celebration of their life. They had a great life. They should have a nice, safe, clean environment for the end of their life. So when I was an operator, that was my focus, and that's why the nursing homes won multiple state and national awards. When I got out of the operations of the nursing homes, I set up the Cross Family Foundation It's a nonprofit foundation. Presently, we've been funding COVID support. We've been using my airplane to fly. When the outbreak originally happened, we were using the airplane to fly COVID supplies all over the state of Florida. We've been flying vaccines around because once you open a vaccine, you only have 8 hours to use it. So without an airplane, you can be wasting a lot of vaccines. So we've been flying vaccines all over Florida for 6 months now. And also, in order to generate funds to put into the foundation, I like to do some real estate development in single-family homes. In a partnership with a local builder, we build 2 or 3 spec homes a year to sell and then use those proceeds to fund the foundation. I'll say, having grown up really poor, it's good to be able to give some back. So that's what I plan on doing for the foreseeable future.
As a junior and senior at Maryville College, I received a well-rounded liberal arts education which prepared me well for graduate school and my career. I continue to this day to utilize my senior thesis, human resources in the workplace, in my dealings with employees, clients, and others. The small, intimate campus atmosphere I experienced at MC has provided me with lifelong friends. I will never forget the time I spent working in the school's mailroom and bookstore for Mrs. Rock, who, being concerned that I was malnourished at 6'5" and 240 pounds, would have her son Jim bring me Dagwood-style sandwiches as boys must eat. To this day, Jim and I are still close friends. I also fondly recall the lively discussion on health and science in Dr. Bundy's classes and the deep conversation in Dr. Sullivan's psychology class. Most days would then wrap up with Coach Lambert ensuring I burned off all the calories from eating the Dagwood sandwiches during basketball practice. After graduation, my personal and professional life led me to Florida, and unfortunately it made it difficult to return home to Howie. Through LinkedIn and other social media outlets, I have been able to stay informed about the many new and exciting happenings at MC. I have also had the privilege of hosting both former President Bogart and now retired Coach Lambert to my home in Fort Lauderdale. And I look forward to connecting with the current President, Dr. Coker, and perhaps Coach Lambert on their future trips to Florida. Casey, if you're watching, I'm looking forward to that too. I'm proud of Maryville's ability to continue to evolve and grow without losing its identity as a small liberal arts college, as well as its long valued traditions. Finally, I would like to thank my beautiful wife, Tabitha, who has supported me daily through the struggles of growing successful businesses. I would also like to acknowledge my children, Savannah, Haley, Peyton, Carly, Julian, and Madison, for their understanding of my busy schedule and sometimes missing their games, dances, and other events. I am very proud of each of them and their accomplishments, 2 as educators, 2 in healthcare, and 2 who will soon be entering college, 4 without family, 1 is nothing. Again, I would like to thank Dr. Coker and the Maryville College Alumni Association for this award, and I look forward to attending Homecoming and Founders Day in the future. Let's give a round of applause for 2021 Citation Award recipient, Casey Ross. Tonight's second recipient is equally impressive. Please enjoy this video honoring Dr. Carla Deere Heidelberg, class of 1988.
We moved here in 1976 from Phoenix, Arizona. It was a great place to be. We lived out in a farm in Friendsville. I started out at Walland Middle School and then went to William Blount High School right after it opened. And when it became time to start thinking about college, there weren't a lot of students in my particular year that were thinking about college. And I really didn't quite know where to begin. And I had that conversation with Penny Piper, and She convinced me to check out Maryville College.
Maryville College has, I think, for generations just welcomed and nurtured and guided their students to find the path and the course for their lives that they wanted to achieve.
I played volleyball at Maryville College under Candy Schramm. And volleyball was really important because it gave me a core set of students that became lifelong friends. Terry Bundy was the person who really got me interested and engaged in science, even though the courses that I took from him were the hardest that I went through at Maryville. I met this guy at Maryville named John, and John was taking organic chemistry with me and effortlessly leading the class. And so I thought to myself, I should probably get to know this guy. And that was 33 years ago, and we're still together. I credit Dr. Bundy with bringing us together as a couple as well. So Maryville had this great policy that every student should take what's called either a J term or something that over the summer that broadened your horizons. And so these were opportunities for experiential learning that fell outside of the normal academic classroom. All of those are really important, and I took that away with me, and I used that type of experience in how I teach now. After graduating, I was in the workforce for several years, and I was able to get into a graduate school to study marine science. I got my PhD in coral reef ecology, factors that affect coral growth and health. I was hooked. That was the field that I wanted to be in. I applied for a position at the State Department designed to bring scientists into the State Department. And I was lucky enough to get a AAAS fellowship to join the Office of Oceans Affairs at the U.S. State Department. After I had been at the State Department for a while, I had a chance meeting with a person named Craig Venter, who is most well known for sequencing the human genome. And I was hired by Craig to lead an around-the-world voyage to look at ocean biodiversity. And we looked at biodiversity through sequencing technologies, using the same technologies that were developed to sequence the human genome. My husband was also in marine microbiology, and we were hired to come to the University of Southern California. They took us out to Catalina Island to their marine lab off the shore of Los Angeles. We raised our kids on an island, and that was a really great experience. My focus as a scientist was marine microbes, so I kind of gravitated toward microbes in extreme environments. I focused for 6 years on a project in remote Australia in hypersaline lakes. So I did some work in hydrothermal vents in the Alvin sub, going down to these habitats that are so different than what we tend to think of as where life exists. And about the same time, I was invited onto a cruise from a colleague that was going into Antarctica. And the experience in Antarctica led to an opportunity which I have now, which is working for the National Science Foundation to manage the U.S. science program in Antarctica. I've been fortunate enough to be able to work with the Maryville College biology faculty to see how I can give back to the college. And one of those ways has been in hosting Maryville College students in the summertime for internships on Catalina Island. And then they come back and share their research with the community here. And that's been an amazing experience.
I want to take this opportunity to thank Maryville College, the alumni office, the new exciting leadership, and all those who make this an amazing place to study, to learn, and to grow. I also want to mention that people don't become who they are unless they have a great community who help them to learn, to grow, and to not be afraid to try new things, or if things don't work well, to be able to recover from those things with grace. I would like to acknowledge my husband, who was a product of my Maryville College career days. I did also get a degree, but you know, for 33 years being married and even more being together, he has been a part of every professional decision and every opportunity that we've experienced together. I also want to thank my family, who I've been fortunate enough are here with me tonight, including my parents, who, by the way, were mentioned this morning in the Maryville Times as Blount County's runner-up to the cutest couple. They just celebrated their 60th wedding anniversary earlier this month. Also, my brother and his wife, Kim, are here, and I'm really fortunate to have such wonderful family. Okay, very quickly, they give me a very short time limit. I have to thank Penny Prophet Piper, my high school teacher, because she's the one who convinced me that I needed to consider Maryville College. And she was absolutely right. A liberal arts education is the best way to go. John and I teach at the University of Southern California, which is a fantastic university. We're in the only liberal arts college, and we're there because we both strongly feel that a liberal arts education is the way to go. I also want to take an opportunity to thank the unbelievable faculty of Maryville College. As you saw in the video, Dr. Bundy, we credit him with a lot in our lives, and other faculty who are here tonight, Bob Ranger and others, they're just amazing people. And they don't just teach that you have to memorize things and reproduce them on tests. They teach you how to think, they teach you how to make decisions, and they teach you how to analyze things. So I'm exceptionally grateful. And then I have to thank my core friends. These are friends who have been friends for what feels like a lifetime. We've shared accomplishments, we've shared challenges, and while we don't live anywhere close to each other, we are in constant contact, and they are amazing people. And I'm thankful that so many are here tonight, and I'll see more tomorrow. So with that, I will end by saying I can't wait to see all the new exciting things that we just heard about from President Coker, and the new directions that the college is making, and the new opportunities that our students have going forward. So with that, thank you so much, Maryville, and thank you for being here tonight.
Now it is my honor to recognize Dr. Mary Kay Sullivan with the Maryville College Medallion. Before we hear from Mary Kay, though, we have asked some individuals to share a little bit more about her and her role at Maryville College as an educator, a volunteer, and a philanthropist.
Let me share with you just a very few examples of the impact she has had on students. I can certainly tell you that she was an engaged academic advisor and teacher. She never shied away from the detailed, in-the-weeds, day-to-day work of teaching and mentoring students, at which she excelled. Mary Kay retired officially from the college in 2010, but she continued to teach a few upper-level business and finance courses as an adjunct instructor at a point in which she surely was donating far more money to the college than she ever would have been earning. But in addition to teaching her subject, which was finance, she also inculcated values of generosity and service in her students. My colleagues in advancement have multiple stories of her generosity in donating scholarships, leading or inspiring some of her students later on to found their own scholarships because they were moved by her example. And I'd like to close with something that Mary Kay used to say at the end of her business 334 finance course, which I did not take, I'm sorry to say, but I'm grateful to my colleague Karen Eldridge for relating this to us. Mary Kay, I'm told that you used to tell your students on the last day of class, buy stock, take stock, and restock. So I will share a quotation from Mary Kay as reported by Karen explaining this directive. In finance, we learn about the long-term benefits of investing in common stock, so that is a natural beginning for my short homily. I also want the students to take stock in terms of examining their own strengths and building on those, and recognizing the values that motivate them. As far as restocking goes, when their loans are paid and when they are financially secure, I encourage them to restock, to give back to the institutions that nurtured them. Mary Kay, thank you for your many years of restocking the Maryville College faculty and campus community.
I was asked by Susie Booker to say a few words about Mary Kay for two reasons. One, she knew we served on the Presidential Search Committee and spent about 8 months together. And the other reason, she knew I'd be brief. When Mary Kay asked me to co-chair the search committee with her, there was no hesitation. It was like I said yes, and it was like being asked to be on the dream team. You couldn't ask for anything better. You know, while the search was going on, I actually had a real job. So I'm a banker in Knoxville, so we had several functions that I needed to go to, and we had a lot of clients showing up, and so I'd invite Mary Kay to come. So Mary Kay, I'd introduce her to the first few people that I could while I had time, and then I'd leave her on her own, but I'd meet up with her after the event was about to be over. And by that time, she had introduced herself to everyone in the building. She knew where they worked and how many kids they had, and if there was any potential kids from Maryville College, so she was networking the entire time. And while serving as co-chair of Mary Kay, she was a great partner. Her diligence and management through the process was brilliant. She and I tag teamed as much as possible, but she handled the inclusion of many people. And as a lot of you guys know, in the academic world, that means a lot of people had to be managed. But she handled it with grace and led us to a brilliant conclusion of hiring Brian Coker. I can't think of a more deserving person for this award. Congratulations, Mary Kay. You're the best.
Mary Kay and I, in my relative history at Maryville College, we go way back. Mary Kay. She was the very first person with whom I interacted during the presidential search process. I clearly recall sitting in my living room in Baltimore during our very first phone conversation when we spoke about my upcoming interview. I was so deeply impressed by her experience with and her love for Maryville College. And I was so fortunate and blessed to have her as a resource as I stepped into the 12th presidency. It is so very rare to have someone with her experience as a dedicated faculty member lead the board. Well, I can't say anything more better than what's already been shared. So, Mary Kay, for your monumental contributions to Maryville College over the years, for your generosity on so many levels, thank you, Mary Kay. And it is my sincere honor as the president and my privilege to award you with our absolute highest honor at this college, the medallion.
I am tremendously honored to receive this award, and I'm really touched by the comments from my colleagues. This came as a real surprise. I must say that I have looked at the list of previous recipients, and I am humbled to have the opportunity to sort of walk in your footsteps. I also have noticed that a couple of you are here tonight, so I'm happy to be here with you. I do want to just say thank you to those of you who are here sharing this experience. I know that those of you who came tonight are among the college's strongest supporters, and your enthusiasm, your dedication to the college, and your support of the college has been a big part in making it this wonderful institution that we all know that creates opportunities for students and provides transformative education. So I can't really say much more after all these words, but I do want to end with two words, and that is, go Scots!